Hello LinkedIn. So yesterday I was cycling up the street, stopped to take a photo, met Piers Nicholson, who's designed this sundial behind us. The number of times I've cycled past, didn't even know it was a sundial, and I started taking some photographs of the little tiles that you can see in the background. So if you've got a couple of minutes, I'd love to just share a little bit more about the tale of Richard Carlile and the story of his 19th century printing press that stood on this site in the past. And thanks very much for agreeing to do this, Piers.
Hello.
So the Fleet Street Heritage Project, which Piers Nicholson is involved with and in charge of and set up really, started with the opening of the Heritage Sundial behind us, which stands on the corner of Fleet Street and, I can't pronounce it, Bouverie Street. And this heritage sundial actually stands on the site of the early 19th century printing house of Richard Carlile. And for those of you who follow the page and or me and my work in the past, it may be perhaps unsurprising to you to know that he is actually a personal hero of mine. For nearly 40 years until his death, until his death in 1843, Richard fought vigorously and persistently and at a great personal cost in support of freedom to express views far ahead of his time. And that great personal cost actually involved over 9 years in prison. Now, looking back at the history of this, which is always vital and important for current day events, the law reports his trials showed him to be thoughtful, intelligent and courteous in the face of prosecutors showing little sympathy for his views. But, and these little tiles that we're about to talk about that are printed just in the background behind me did say that he was allowed to continue his editorial work from his prison cell. So with that in mind, Piers, could you tell us a little bit about what this heritage project is about and what it means to you and how you got involved in it?
I got involved with it after we completed the sundial. The grant from the City of London asked us to do some community information panels. We agreed to do 70 of them. The sundial was completed in October 21. We completed the 70 tiles last month. We've now got up to 82 and there is still more to come, so it's an ongoing project, and while I've been in charge of it and created some of it, it's been a great team effort with a lot of people volunteering to do all kinds of things, writing pages particularly, and doing things like this current video. Thanks very much.
Oh, pleasure. And also the bunting, volunteered hanging out the window yesterday, putting the bunting up yesterday. Amazed that it's still standing up. And this all came about in terms of it's part of Open House and Open City were involved. Open House were involved. So Open House is an organisation in London that helps open areas for history and heritage and historical purposes. I'll try that really quickly, thank you. And so yeah, it's voluntary work, volunteering, working as a team. It's absolutely vital that history and heritage is preserved, especially in a site as historic and important as Fleet Street. And just to close this little 5-minute video, I'd like to end on something that I've actually taken from one of Piers's historical tiles that they're writing and they're designed as if they're newspaper front pages. And it's like a truck go past. And the tile that I'm going to talk about and quote directly from is about the enduring value of press freedom. So while the press may have moved physically from Fleet Street still stands for the press, and the sundial behind us symbolises the information and enlightenment a free press brings. Press freedom is the oxygen of liberty and the driver of participatory democracy. Without it, abuse of power and or misconduct pass unrevealed, unremarked and uncorrected. Press freedom is an engine of improvement and a fundamental human right. It is a right we in a democracy are extraordinarily fortunate to enjoy, and for which we owe a great deal of a debt of thanks to Richard Carlile among others, and which we must always defend and cherish. So thank you very much for watching. In time, I'll help you set up a fundraising page, Piers, so that you can hopefully get the funds needed to put these tiles that you're making on the wall underneath the sundial, so that there's a permanent history. The permanent history of this really important area for press and media is preserved in its all eternity. So thank you very much for joining me. I'm really glad I dropped my bike yesterday, because that's the only reason this came about. Thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.
Thank you.